Frank Kinney, Dr. Audra Martin McCoy. So you have a quorum.
Excellent. All right. May I have a motion to approve today's agenda unless there are any changes or questions?
I'll make the motion to approve today's agenda.
This is Dee. I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm up next. So Academic Excellence Committee. So I'm up just to introduce Dr. Harvey. So he'll be talking with the district school improvement plan. I'll go ahead.
I think you froze slightly, Dr.
I
Martin.
did?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, okay, he got it anyway. I was passing it to Dr. Harvey, so thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. The North Carolina Department of Public Instruction has recommended 8 indicators that you'll see in our school improvement plan. They've also adopted the NCSTAR or North Carolina NC STAR system to manage the actual school improvement plan. And so we have an attachment inside the agenda. And as I go along through the actual school improvement plan, you can follow along. And if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. So on page 1, you see the actual goals for this school year, for the 2025-26 school year. It starts with our goals, mission, vision, goals. And then if you move down, you'll see the first indicator, and it says practice 1B, monitor short and long-term goals. And the sub-indicator focuses on subgroup achievements. And so if you move down along, you'll see that here's some things that we're actually doing, but could be doing at a lot better pace, or could be efficiency, or it could be how we manage and maintain some of these things that we're doing. And this is just the outlook of some of the things, some of the initiatives that we're doing. And each indicator will have those types of initiatives. And for each indicator, we also have what it looks like when fully implemented. You'll have someone who's primarily responsible. And if you notice in this indicator, Ashley Cooper was named responsible. And you'll see the actual deadline, July 28th, 2028. And with each of these indicators follows action steps by the district. And these action steps should be aligned, and we're aligning those to the actual school improvement plans. For example, if we're collecting data for subgroups, we would need information and subgroup data from the school level. And so the action step would start with the district, but also filter down to the actual school level. And you'll see the actual responsibility changes throughout each action step. The next action step focuses on examining existing school improvement strategies. And we focusing on math. We saw that math was an area of focus for this school year. And so the math was actually something that we developed here. And again, here are some of the initiatives. Here's what it will look like when fully developed. Ben Thigpen, person responsible, the date and deadline, and the action steps that will follow. Any questions so far on how that works, how it looks, and how this will be managed? Okay, I'll move right along. This is the third, and as I mentioned, we have 8. Third one that was recommended by the
Sorry,
district.
actually, Dr. Harvey, do you want to share your screen? I feel like I lost track of where you are in the,
Okay.
or you
Let
can
me
just tell me a page number.
don't think it's set up in page numbers. Let me look.
Yeah, right. I have I have it on the side, like slide, like
Okay.
something out of 22, or
Okay, got you. I understand. I see. So right now I'm on slide 6,
okay,
number 6.
okay, all right, thank you.
And here you'll see in the yellow screen, that's what it looks like when fully implemented.
Mhm.
And where it says action steps, here are the district action steps. The people responsible for each action step is to the right, and then the timelines are on the right-hand side as well. Okay, I'm going to move to slide 8. And I believe this is the third action step. This is more of a human resource action step. Here's what it looks like when fully implemented. You'll see on 9 of 22, Deborah Hunter in yellow is the person responsible. We move further down, you'll see in gray and white the action steps. Those people responsible. The next action steps is professional learning. You'll see professional learning plan. Here's what it looks like when fully implemented. In yellow on 12 of 22. In yellow, you'll see Deborah Hunter is the person responsible. Here, and if you move further down in the white and gray, those are the action steps by the district. And people responsible to the right-hand side, and deadlines and calendar dates. On page 14 of 22, this domain focuses on, assessments. And you'll see on page 14, the initial, and in yellow, what it looks like when fully implemented. You'll see who's responsible and the target dates. Moving down to 15, you'll see action steps associated with this particular indicator. On page 15, this action step, build a strong community intensely focusing on student learning. Things that we're currently doing. On 16 of 22, I'm sorry. On 17 of 22, you'll see in yellow things that were what it looks like when fully implemented. To the right, you'll see Ben Thigpen and the actual date that we will be assessing this particular indicator. And if you move down 17, you'll see action steps associated with that particular indicator. And as you move along, you have the LEA indicator. 19. Page 19, you have two-way communication, focus. As we assess it, here's what we're currently doing. If you move on to 21, here's what it looks like when fully implemented. You have my name down as the person responsible, the deadline to the right. And you see here some of the action steps associated with this indicator on 21 and further down. So I wanted to try to be as brief as possible, and kind of go through some of the things, major points. Do you have any questions regarding the school improvement plan?
I have a question about the target dates. I noticed that a few of them are past. They were in 2024. What are we using to, like, an accountability matrix in terms of proving out that they're completed or documenting that they were done and the results thereof?
So typically you would document the results and some of the data inside of Industar. And so when you look at the dates on the right, you'll see that those dates sometimes change. So let's look at one particular. Let's see here. Let's go back to the first one. So you'll see the first one deals with actual subgroups. You'll see collection of subgroup data under action step on page 3. And you'll see how we're actually collecting benchmark data throughout the school year. And so that would go on the actual school improvement plan for the actual schools. They would generate their data and they will present that data to our school improvement team.
Okay.
So that's basically what that indicators, that those action steps is basically saying. Some of these dates will change based on, for example, this on page 4 of 22, under create policy for implementing mandatory graduation plan. You see that the indicator is further out to 2027. And so some of these dates are pushed back maybe 2 years, so to give us time to actually get these things together and be successful.
Okay.
So this is an ongoing document. Of course, we're gonna update this this document periodically as these indicators and as these action steps take place throughout the year.
Let me ask you about one in particular, if that's okay, real quick. Just like following up on slide 19, the one assigned to Miss Maggie Bush, the MTSS leadership team coordinates by support. How is something like that? I see essential elements checklist. How are we making sure that that is done or on track to be completed by June 2026? And that I'm just pulling that as a example, just because some of these, it's clear to me that like we will have met it or not, and others feel slightly qualitative. And I'm wondering how we're able to assess that we are on track to meet those, especially thinking about that a lot of them are June, July 2026. We don't want to get to June or July in 2026 and then start assessing if we're on track to them. I'm wondering how we're kind of monitoring that during the development and implementation process.
Yeah, so Miss Ray, Dr. Bush will be meeting with her. She has lead MTSS staff at each grade band, and she meets with them several times a month to go through the data. And so, yeah, she won't even have quarterly meetings. She'll have a couple of meetings each month with her MTSS leads to ensure we're on track.
Excellent. Okay, so each person that has their responsibility area, this is kind of a constant focus of theirs towards the school improvement. Thank you. I understand that. Okay.
And then also throughout the year, Ms. Bush will update the actual leadership team. So periodically throughout the year, she will have a report for the leadership team so that we can kind of collaborate on next steps. And so in some instances, as we gather data, those action steps may change throughout the year based on data that we're getting. And
Okay,
so
thank-
that's where we will put in the note section.
Okay.
Any other
So-
questions? Great question.
I have just one question, sort of piggybacking on that. Will the board be notified of these updates?
So board members, the plan you're looking at currently is for the district school improvement team. And I believe it's either the law or DPI policy requires schools that are designated as low performing to come before the board and pardon me, and ask you to approve the annual school improvement plan. What you're looking at are some static documents that are actually digital, and we can give you access to be able to log into Industar to be able to see the data as the data are being updated. So, one reason I wanted Dr. Harvey to show this to you is Industar is a very good tool for the purposes of managing and monitoring and focusing on priorities. So the district has a school improvement team. K5, 6, 8, and 9, 12 all have their respective school improvement teams, and uh, each of the four entities has its own login information to be able to uh, monitor, track, and add specific data points. So along the way, not just annually, one thing that we should do is maybe during some of the respective committees is talk about an initiative and show you that we're monitoring and updating these targets in the tool Industar. Because, frankly, one of the challenges that I have as the person working with so many folks is trying to figure out where do we house, monitor, and track all of these tools and all of the progress. And I think this is a really, really good tool that allows us to be really specific about what our action steps are, who is the lead, and that lead is working with folks across the organization and the specific targets.
So that means then basically we'll have the access to the three schools, the elementary, the middle school, and the high school, so that we can go in and just see how it progresses.
Yes,
Yes.
and actually, the information is public. There's a requirement that the various school improvement teams meet uh, at least once a month, and that the information is made public so that folks in our community and folks who are just interested in understanding how we're progressing can follow, what we're focusing on.
Okay, so we'll get that information separate at a later date.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, that concludes the presentation on the school improvement plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey. All right, next up we have the Finance Committee. Can we just go ahead and go straight to Dr. Mullins?
Hey, thank you. I provided the finance committee and the board, or Ms. Daniels did, the three documents, and they're a little bit different this time than what you've seen in the past. But you should have a NC Cyber Academy budget report condensed, and you'll see the revenues. And when you look at the state revenue in this report, we still, we've got an ADM allotment or based on our PMR, and we've started dropping funds from the state revenue. One of the points I did want to mention to the full board is when you look at the local revenue, we were projecting about $6 million in local revenue for local the LEAs to once we invoice those LEAs, they would provide the checks to Cyber Academy. Those revenues have just started dropping each month. I know we're 3 months into the school year, but many of the LEAs have just started sending their local revenue checks to us. So even though we've only received just over $110,000, just over $111,000, you'll see that number pick up each month now that the invoicing has started and everything is taken care of there. And then the federal revenue, that hasn't changed since the last time the board met. And you have a total revenue, a projected revenue of about $25.8 million. Then you look at the total expenditures, and we're looking at about $25.8 million in expenditures. So we're operating with a pretty much a net zero budget this year. We have taken into account under the expenses, salary, wages, and benefits. We've projected an 8% increase. Once it's been determined what the final state budget is going to be, we'll come back to the board and look at salary, wages, and benefits. But as of right now, we're on track when it comes to our expenses. It looks like we have spent about 22% of our budget, and we're about 25% of the way through the school year. So we're right on track with our expenses. And again, once the local revenues start coming in, our revenue streams will be a little bit better. So that was one document. The other document that's provided is the PNC Bank corporate business account. And you can see we began September with just over $3 million in the bank. And it shows the debits and credits and checks and other debits and deposits, and our ending balance in September was at 2.4 million. So we're in really good shape financially. We've got $2.4 million, which gives us enough operating capital for just over 2 months. And then the third document was the Ameriprise Financial, where the board had approved putting money in CDs and treasuries, and with the initial amount put in those CDs and treasuries was 6.6 million. So we have 6.6 million in addition to the 2.4 million. So we're when you look at everything, what is that, almost $9 million in available funding. Now this 6.6 million in the CDs and treasuries, some of those will start maturing, and once they mature, then the board would decide if we want to put that money in the bank or if we want to roll it into another CD or treasury. And so again, we're because of fees and on the initial Ameriprise Financial, we're just we're in a net we're at a negative balance of about $645, but that's, you're not going to see the revenue pick up on the CDs and treasuries until they mature. And then whatever that rate is, once they mature, is where we're going to see our increase. And based on the 6.6 million Ameriprise Financial, it says that the net gain on those initial CDs and treasuries should be around $275,000 in additional revenue for the school. So we got basically 6.6 million in CDs and treasuries. We've got 2.4 million in our PNC bank account. And so we're in really good shape financially, and we're on track as far as spending. And once we start receiving our local funding from our LEAs, our revenue stream there will pick up as well. So I just wanted to ask our board if you had any questions regarding the three various documents that were provided.
I got one question, and it's really just more, I'm curious. With the government shutdown, how is that affecting us, if at all?
Yeah, I don't know. As far as on the budget, it's not really affected us. I know we're in the middle of an audit, and there has been a little bit of impact to the audit. And I was going to mention that when it gets time for if we needed to mention it on the report, the operations reports. Normally we finish our audit this week, the external audit, but because of the federal government shutdown and some of the implications there, I've been told by the auditors it's going to be November, December before the audit's finalized. But funding wise, we have received our federal funding dollars with no impact at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins. All right. Next up, we have the governance committee, and Miss Ray, I think you're going to take that one.
Yes, and I will pass it along. We have, looks like 3 action items. Mr. Hill, I will pass it along to you.
All right. Again, good evening, board members and Madam Attorney. Wow. So this has been I think a really interesting project of trying to recruit additional members who would be a great fit and add quality to our board. So to remind everyone, our bylaws state that we'll have between 5 and 9 members. My hope has been that we can recruit enough members to have 9 so that we'll have at least 3 committee members for each committee. So I've been working with an outside group connected to the UNC Law School, where there are folks who are really interested in serving on nonprofit and for-profit boards. And I was given a list of names of potential candidates and their profiles, and went through many of those profiles and resumes, and reached out to a few folks and recommended that our governance committee talk to 3 members. So Ms. D. Ray and Dr. Audrey Martin McCoy each talk to each member. And at the governance committee, Ms. D. Ray and Dr. McCoy share their observations and their conversations with these 3 candidates. I'll ask Ms. D. Ray to share her thoughts and to reflect on what she believes she heard from Dr. McCoy. What you have are the documents for each of the candidates who filled out a board questionnaire. I hope you've had a chance to review what each of them has said regarding each of the various questions. So I'll turn to Ms. D. Ray.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Yes, we had a great discussion in our governance committee meeting, and the candidates were each separately so impressive. All of them, I'll let you read in their questionnaires about their years and years of experience. But I kind of pulled out a few highlights from what we discussed in the governance committee that I wanted to share to the larger board. I'll go in order here of the way we have them listed on the agenda. Miss Elisa McDonald. She has executive and C-suite experience that I thought would be hugely valuable to the board. Interestingly, she's also a certified strengths coach, which I think is great since we use the Strengths Finder tool now and the strengths coaching and assessment as part of our team building exercises annually for the board. I thought that was a great value add. Also, Ms. McDonald has a consulting background and currently works in a consulting role, which I think is just from the way that our board is designed and the way we operate. It's a great way of thinking about, asking the right questions, making sure that we're asking probing questions that we understand, but not, a hands-on where we're actually like tactically executing on things. And like all of these folks, she does also have board advisory experience, which I thought was great. Then we have Miss Thomas. something that stood out to me in our discussions is she has a cybersecurity background, which I thought was so perfect for the conversations we've been having. Specifically, she and I had a really interesting discussion around AI and the questions we've been asking as a board and as our staff, and how do we responsibly use AI? What are the ethics around AI? And how do we also think about that in the context of preparing students for tomorrow's world? How do we do that in a way that is teaching them to spot AI, etc.? She also served on a board, and it was interesting because she is in a Green Chair project. She served on the committee, the development committee, which has a business growth function that I thought is analogous to our enrollment discussions and the discussions we have around increasing enrollment. The conversation she and I had, I thought she would be a great thought partner to all of us as a fellow board member in that regard. And Miss Mobley has a counselor and school background, and she and I had a really interesting discussion about the whole, the whole student and how we think about our students and how we service our students. She also spoke very eloquently about all the different types of parents and learning coaches and students that she's experienced as a counselor, that for me, coming from the corporate world, was really eye-opening and interesting to hear about, and I think would be really an interesting addition to the discussions we have as a board. And Ms. Mobley, as well, I should note, has advisory board experience. So really such a diversity of thought, diversity of backgrounds. And Dr. Martin McCoy and I agreed that we would both recommend them, all three of them, to the board.
Board members, do you have any questions or any thoughts? One thing I'll add is, as I've been thinking about adding additional board members, I really wanted us to have a diversity of experience, in terms of the type of careers and, the type of future that we want our students to have. I also wanted us to connect with folks who could build our network and connect to other stakeholders. In particular, we are expanding career technical education, and we're trying to ensure that our curriculum and our practices prepare children for tomorrow's workplace and tomorrow's economy. And so I think each of these individuals, brings a specific perspective that will help us to think even more comprehensively about how we prepare our students and how we engage them in this virtual environment. One document, in addition to the questionnaire of each member, is entitled Board Terms Expiring Dates. You will recall that Attorney Martin worked with us a few years ago to set up 3 classes of board members with their terms ending respectively in 26, 27, and 28. And the document shows where each of the new recruits would reside in terms of whether their terms would expire in June 27 or June 28. And so the goal is to ask the board to approve each of these members with the assigned term, and the new board members would begin at your next board meeting.
Would we vote for them as a group, or should we individually, Attorney Martin?
You certainly can vote for them as a group if you would like, as long as you specify each person's name with the assigned term.
Could I hear a motion to approve them as a group? I can say their names out, or you can.
Well,
Who's who? Yeah, go, sorry.
I will certainly make a motion. I'll let you, Dee, say the names out loud. I'm working not on my big computer like I like to. Technical issues there still. So I'll let you do that. But yeah, I'll make a motion to
Okay,
accept.
so I'd like to hear a motion. I think I can phrase it that way, Attorney Martin, to approve Miss Elisa McDonald for a term expiring in 2027, Miss Sue Thomas for a term expiring in 2028, and Miss Deborah Mobley for a term expiring in 2028. Could I hear a motion for that?
So moved.
And a second?
This is Julie, I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we approve these 3 board members and welcome them aboard.
Excellent.
And we will go to action item number 2, Mr. Hill.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the document showing the terms of board members, you'll note that Ms. D. Ray is listed under June 2028. Ms. D. Ray's formal term ended in June 2025, and our bylaws allow a member to continue to serve until they are replaced or renewed. And so I'm making a recommendation that after talking to Ms. D. Ray, that her term be extended through June 2028 for an additional 3 years. So, Madam President, maybe you make the motion.
Fantastic. I would love to do that. May I have a motion to extend Ms. D. Ray's term expiring in 2028?
I'll make that motion.
Can I second my own
Yes.
renewal? Okay, I'll second.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Motion carries. Have you for
Thank
another
you.
3 years. Wonderful.
Thank you. I'm honored.
There's more.
And then we will go to our 3rd action item, Mr. Hill.
Yeah, the purpose of this motion is to acknowledge the resignation of Miss Deborah Williams from the board. Ms. Williams informed me that she would resign effective I think it's September 30th or effective October 1. So is there, Attorney Martin, is that adequate enough, or it's the fact that she resigned and we acknowledge it through this board meeting and then it becomes a part of the minutes?
That's correct. You don't have to approve it. Your bylaws just allow. Did she send that to you, Madam President?
I did not see anything. I can search again,
Okay.
but
Well, per the bylaws, we'll acknowledge it, but per the bylaws, she actually needs to send a notice to the president
okay.
for it to actually
Alright.
take place. But we'll let the minutes reflect it. She's
Sounds-
provided the notice, and just ask her to forward it to the president.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, and that concludes the items for the governance committee, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ray. All right, next up we have the consent agenda. If I could have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
This is Dee. I move that we approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
This is Jennifer. I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Consent agenda is approved. Next, we'll need a motion to go into closed session. I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Martin to do
I
the
suggest-
fancy talking.
I suggest someone makes a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A1 to discuss information as confidential pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 115C-218.25 and 115C-319.
This is Jennifer. I'll make that motion.
This is Dee. I second.
In favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. I'll meet you in closed session. Mm. Okay. All right, excellent. Looks like we have everybody. Dr. Mullins, could you please share the slate of proposed hires with us?
Yes, ma'am. We're asking the board approve Clarissa Bridges for middle school mathematics teacher, Jennifer Chambers for middle school mathematics teacher, Olivia Griffith, elementary school exceptional children's teacher, and Whitney Ratliff, middle school science teacher.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the new proposed hires?
I move that we approve these hires.
This is Jennifer, I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, new hires are approved. Fantastic. Anybody have anything else for the good of the people before we say goodnight?
Board members, I want to remind each of you that we're slated to go before the Charter School Review Board on November 12th at 2 o'clock to present our case to be renewed for 5 years. We have been given directions that Dr. Marks and I have 15 minutes to present. I looked at the agenda. We are scheduled to basically be before the Charter School Review Board from 2 to 2:20. And at 2:20, the North Carolina Virtual Academy comes on. So Dr. Marks and I will be there in person. I'm hoping that you
Sure.
can be there in person.
All right.
And I've asked the 3 principals and Dr. Mullins to attend in person. And I would ask each board member if you're able to attend virtually.
And those details and any documentation we should review beforehand will be sent via email?
Yes.
Okay.
So we were directed that we would have only 7 slides from which we could present, and the first slide had to be something saying North Carolina Cyber Academy. So in effect, we have six content slides.
Okay. And does the 15 minutes include questions and answers, or that's all our time?
So I was told we had 15 minutes, you and I. In fact, that 20 minutes is slated.
Got it.
Overall.
Okay.
Wow, it suggests 5 minutes of questions,
All right.
or say we shall see.
All right, that sounds good.
Would our new board members be attending, or would that not, since they won't have come to a board meeting yet? How would that work?
I would ask that they attend if they are able to attend. It's conceivable that a charter school board member could ask a new board member a question about why you're so interested in North Carolina Cyber Academy. But wow, 20 minutes is a short period of time to really get into the weeds. And when I've presented to the Charter School Review Board in the past, and when I've seen other groups presenting, sometimes the board would go into the weeds and ask specific board members a question, but times have changed. So it'll be interesting to just participate in the presentation, and I remind everyone that we know a heck of a lot more about our story, and we have some compelling points to make, and of course we will acknowledge where we are continuing to improve.
Excellent.
Just my information as well, they tend to spend time with board members as well as kind of what your role is or what policies or things you've established to help address wherever there are opportunities for growth. They want to see that the board is engaged in how the board is managing, governing with respect to those specific areas. So that tends to be their target point, is where there are areas for growth.
Okay. That's helpful.
And
Right.
actually, I'll be there as well. I have, I think, 3 clients over the 2 days who are up for renewal. So I'll be there in
Excellent.
person as well. It would be great to see you all.
Yeah.
Or
that's
whoever's able to be
something.
there.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. Well, thanks for that reminder, Mr. Hill. I'll look forward to seeing the slides whenever they're ready. Also happy to meet about it if that would be helpful.
All right.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
This is G. I move that we adjourn.
This is Jennifer, a second.
Great. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, we will adjourn. I'll see some of you in a couple weeks. Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
have a good evening. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Night.